Now to a News Nation exclusive from our southern border. An 18-year-old migrant is found desperate, hungry, and alone in the Texas wilderness. News Nation was there when the Terrell County Sheriff rescued him. He told law enforcement he was fleeing the drug cartels, and that's a dangerous reality for many migrants hoping to find refuge in the U.S. They are forced to use cartels to help cross the border, and pay dearly for that, by the way. Hundreds of people die every year trying to make that trek. The UN's Migration Agency says it's the deadliest land route for migrants in the world. In Terrell County, authorities say they're seeing a dramatic increase in the number of dead migrants found in that area, and arrests are on the rise. News Nation's Allie Bradley was there for that emotional rescue. Allie, law enforcement likely saved this young man's life.
Yeah, Elizabeth, we came across this young man who was abandoned all alone in an area where no one would want to be left in this rough, remote terrain of Terrell County. The sheriff there telling me that they have recovered 37 bodies over the last 3 years of migrants trying to cross into the U.S. Brutal, unforgiving terrain in a remote area of the Texas border. That's where we found 18-year-old Hector, a Mexican national trying to escape the cartel. Hector tells a gut-wrenching story of getting abandoned by the group he was traveling with. He's clearly distraught. Hector was spotted when he signaled for help on a game camera in Terrell County, presenting his Mexican passport, prompting Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland to jump into action. Hector tells us he had to camp alone in a rancher's RV for 2 days. He fashioned a flag to alert for help using a pillowcase and piping.
That's where he was going to walk with to try to get somebody's attention.
He says a cartel tried to get him to work for them. He says he refused and immediately set out for the U.S. Hector paid smugglers more than 50,000 pesos, about $3,000 US to get him to the U.S. And he was on the hook for another $3,000 US when he got to Indianapolis, where he said his dad is a roofer.
A mí me amenazaron de Tehuacán que si no le iba a trabajar al narco porque yo le debí un favor. Entonces ocupaban sacarme rápido de Tehuacán.
¿Cuánto pagaste para venir aquí?
Alrededor de 50 por ahí, 50,000.
¿Y pagaste todo allá en México o necesito pagar más aquí en los Estados Unidos?
Pagué piso y llegando a Indianápolis pagar más, pagar 50,000 más.
Hector says he did not want to claim political asylum because his goal was to get back to Mexico to get the rest of his family. Sheriff Cleveland has spent more than 26 years with Border Patrol, and now as sheriff, he says he has never seen anyone as desperate or in rough shape as Hector. And he says he likely would have died if he had not been found. Sheriff Cleveland says that over the last 3 years, they have recovered 37 bodies. Prior to that, they had only 1 death each year. Now, Elizabeth, after we transported Hector, he was actually hospitalized with a muscular deterioration condition that Sheriff Cleveland said is pretty common out there. It happens when individuals overexert themselves, which is why Hector likely fell behind with that group. Now, I just talked with the sheriff who tells me that Hector was released yesterday and he was sent back to his home state in Mexico. Elizabeth.
Oh, that footage of that 18-year-old, very young man crying because he wants to go home to see his mother is really gut-wrenching, Allie. And heaven knows what awaits him. The cartels are still there, threatening him if he doesn't work for them. Allie Bradley, thanks for an incredible report. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.